Hey, it's morning and I'm Bill Connely, so let's get started making some biscuits and gravy. Biscuits and gravy are one of the easiest things there are to make. And to start off with, you saw there that there's some biscuits laying out. I bought those, I purchased them at a local store. But you can make biscuits by using the formula that's on the back of the Bisquick or recipe. You'll also see that we have some Wonder Flour, some pepper, and I use natural sea salt. So up at the top we have some butter. I use 1/4 pound, and or a stick I should say, and over to the right was a milk. Now down with the left hand side by the knife and spatula is some sausage, and I'll explain to you what I do with that sausage in just a minute. But anyway, that's all there is to making biscuits and gravy. There isn't much to it, so let's get started and I'll show you how I go about this. Okay, one of the first things I do is I take a paper towel and I wrap the biscuits in them. And I do that because I've had these biscuits frozen. I put them in a plastic bag and keep them because I usually buy about 12 to 24 at a time. Now, as you can see, I'm turning these biscuits over, and the reason for doing that is because with this paper towel I can wrap it up. You can see I'm wrapping it tight there, and I can put the biscuits in the microwave and be able to defrost them. And it takes about 3 minutes approximately to do that defrost. So I'm going to stick them in the microwave right now and get them going. Alright, our next step that we're going to do here is we're going to mix up the Wonder Flour, the salt and pepper, and by the way, this is a brand new container of Wonder Flour, and whoops, that didn't work very well. Use the back of the knife and I'll knock it in there. There. You got to push that tab down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1 tablespoon and put the Wonder Flour in on the tablespoon, but I'm going to round it. I don't necessarily make it flat like they say in a lot of recipes, formulas, or whatever you want to call it. And so I put 2 tablespoons in there, and remember that I'm making this basically for 1 person. For 2 people you'd probably put 4 in there. And same thing here, as I'm going to put some pepper in. I like pepper, so I put in a 1/4 teaspoonful of pepper, where normally you'd probably put maybe a little less than that. And the same will occur when we go and we start to put the salt in there. The salt that I use, of course, is sea salt, and I actually put a 1/4 teaspoon in there, but I usually round it a little bit. But if you're using a regular salt, you want to be careful about that, because regular salt seems to be a whole lot stronger. And so now I've got them all done there, and basically all I really need to do now is I just take one of the, like a 1/4 there, and I just mix them all together. And we get it all mixed up and ready to go so that we can put it in the pan when ready. Alright, now our very next step here is the fact that I'm going to slice this meat up. And when I buy this meat, I buy it in a little roll, and it's kind of a hot sausage is what it is. It's not really hot, but it does give it a little flavor. And I slice this up and I get them into little bits. I cross slice them. And the reason I do that is because what I do is when I do buy them, I put them into rolls. I break it up, that roll, and I break it up into little pieces, wrap it in cellophane, put them in a container, and then I also do the same thing with the biscuits that either I make from the Bisquick or that I buy, but I don't necessarily wrap them into separate pieces. I just put them in a plastic sack. Okay, so getting to it here, I am slicing this up and being very careful I don't take a finger off at the same time, and I get them all sliced, and then I cross slice them. Doesn't matter about size, you don't have to be perfect, and I throw a little water in the bottom of the pan, and I only do that just so it doesn't stick to the pan, and it helps to get it going, and it helps to make it so that the ingredients, or I should say not ingredients, but the sausage actually does get cooked, because it's really kind of cooking in water until that water actually boils off. It doesn't blow up, but I guess it kind of does. But anyway, the water, when it gets soft, that way I don't have much grease left, or what little grease, I can wipe it out. Now you can see that the water is boiling in there and that the sausage is being cooked up. Okay, so it's time for the butter. And before I did that, I took a paper towel and I wiped out the excess grease in there. That's one of the reasons you see all that meat pushed up over to the side. And you can see I'm stirring the meat around in here to make it so that it is equalized all over. And my next step here will be to put a cover over the top of this so that it doesn't splatter. Okay, it looks like the butter is melted quite well and ready to go. And our next thing is we're going to put milk in there. And by the way, I use about 1.5 cups of milk when I make it for myself. Okay, I constantly stir this simply because I want the butter to melt back into the milk, and it should basically get to a point where it's almost white. Okay, we have a pretty good boil on the butter and milk combination. So our next step here is we're just going to lightly sprinkle in the ingredients of the wonder flour and the salt and pepper. And you'll notice that I chop this up, and I do that just simply so that we don't get lumps in there. And I continue to do the chopping. So there we are. Okay, you can see that the consistency of the gravy has now reached that point where it's fairly thick. And I have the biscuits that I broke up into pieces over here that I'm going to pour that onto. You can see that it is fairly thick, but it's not too thick. Pours good, and that's exactly what we want. And now I'm going to have a delicious meal of biscuits and gravy. And by the way, I use a spatula just to get the rest of that out of there, because what it will do is it kind of freezes up on the inside of the pan, and we get most of it out there. I don't have so much to work about afterwards. All right, now these are some of the ingredients that I used, or all of them, and so I just wanted to list them. Down at the bottom of this video you'll see there's a link, and the reason I put that there was because it's a business that I do on the side. But here's the cool thing about it. This business allows you to get money back on stuff you purchase, and some of these products could have been purchased directly from one of the stores that would give you money back. Take a look at it and see what you think. Take care and have a good day.